Okay.
Episode 3, and we're already at a clip show.
Well, we're at actually episode 4.
We have to do a filler show and explain why.
I think we're there. So let's start this thing. 3, 2, 1. Good morning again. We are on podcast number 4.
I don't remember number 3 clearly.
Yeah, I do. We, that whole bit that we talk about, mic on,
Mic
red
off.
dot on, mic dot off. Yeah, we had Metro in the house
It was the best interview we've ever done.
that you'll never see.
Or hear. Put it that way.
Or hear, yeah, more
They can
important.
see it if they want to.
You could see it, yes. So we could subtitle it.
You know what? That's not bad. We could put subtitles in there.
All right, well, we might revisit that one. We could subtitle it.
We'll call it our first foreign broadcast.
That's it.
It's a foreign film.
Yeah.
Subtitles.
Worthy of an Emmy, maybe.
Let's not push it.
Or a Grammy. Or a Handy Award.
Leave my Grammy out of this.
Yes.
She's dead.
My Hammy. Right? Yeah, so we talked about some really interesting stuff. So the good news is Metro doesn't dislike us that much. He's coming back.
Yeah, he's going to come back. That's great. Super nice guy.
So, it was, what a humble guy.
Yeah, you'll learn about that
Right.
in the podcast. It's the credible path he had.
Yeah, I think, and we stumped him too on a couple questions, which is surprising because,
Well, you're not supposed to ask questions about, badminton of a hockey player. I mean, what's he going to know about badminton?
I don't think it's wrong. There's nothing off the table, Chris. All right, we can talk about anything, and we do.
So what are we talking about today, then?
All right, so I thought today we could talk about culture.
Culture, you mean like foreign countries or Indians, Chinese, what?
I'm not that sophisticated or complicated. I'd like to tone it down a little bit, maybe to our little microcosm of hockey.
Oh,
And
hockey
our little
hockey.
pond of the sea of ponds, of the sea of oceans. Right?
I know a lot about hockey culture.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Well, you have a culture here, and that is you're here to work. I mean, there's time for play.
More of bacteria here.
Well, have you been in the rinks?
Things are much cleaner now.
It doesn't even smell like a rink when you go in. I mean, they smell.
They smell great.
Yeah, like it's not a hockey rink. Mm-hmm. Almost.
So if something good came out of this COVID thing, that's it. We got clean rinks.
It's never been cleaner.
That's right.
Never been cleaner. It's amazing. You have a dozen sheets in the area. And what I find amazing is that you have a half dozen rink owners, if you will, or operators, right? And 6 different solutions to the puzzle, which I find kind of amazing that we're all doing the same thing, but yet we're not. Everyone's different, right?
We talked approach, and it's the same thing with coaching, and it's all coaching, but there's several different paths, and so all these rink owners are taking different paths to try to figure out how to get their businesses open.
And that's I'm standing in line yesterday to get ice. That's how crazy it was. So the floodgates have opened here, but we're going through logistics of like trying to do some, skill clinics and things like that, trying to get some legs before tryouts because, for everyone that was playing Fortnite for the last month.
Are the kids still playing that? I thought that was past. I thought we were in Apex Predators or something like that now.
Well,
I don't know. I don't play those games.
Yeah, that's we'd have to get our subject
I'm still
matter
playing
expert.
Tetris.
Yes, I was playing ColecoVision the other day. Right. Everyone's everyone. It feels great to be out on the ice. A pain for the folks that aren't. And obviously, there's no right or wrongs to this stuff. It's what's working for us, what's working for the area, and knowing that this whole thing could shut down as quickly as it got started up again. So let's hope for the best, and that everyone continues to do their due diligence of just being smart. So culture-wise, I was talking to Coach Sean Ray yesterday, and the topic came up because I still, I keep hitting him. I mean, if he needs a water boy, like I'm there, I got it. He's like, Lee, go take care of that, and I do, because you still need a water boy for the team, and there's no job low enough that I'm willing to do in an effort to help out the team, right? And I willfully do so, because someday, as we talked about, I'll get that call saying you're moving up, right? So he got me up into the travel teams, and that was completely different than house. And I learned every single time I was out on the ice, every single time I was on the bench, of things not to do, of things to do better, things that it's a different game. And it's not that any of the games are wrong, it's just a different game. And then we have the girls, which is a different game. I mean, we talked to Metro, quite a bit about girls hockey and
Sure.
The differences, the nuances, if you will, between the two. And one of the things that struck me the most with talking with Sean was we had he does his alliance practice for the girls, and we do video, so we incorporate video into the training session. And I've been on the bench a couple times with the girls for tournaments, and it's an incredible experience, because girls hockey, when you take out the headhunting aspect of it, it's really technical, and it's a really fast moving game, but they have to do it with finesse and hands and the skills. So we were talking, and it had to do with how do we teach boys and girls the same sport? And his premise was that why is it that we teach girls different than boys? Certainly as they go through puberty and they get to 15, 16, 17, that's where we start seeing the physical differences in the players. Nothing you can do about that.
Nope.
But when it comes to skill, his contention is that if you taught boys and girls the same, that development is development, and that the girls are equally as capable of understanding the drills, executing the drills, and with execution, they typically execute better, because it's the culture is there of that social aspect of it, which boys, I mean, if there's a problem, what do? We duke it out, or it's a flashpoint, right? We settle the score, we make up, and we typically move on. With girls, it's a little bit different, because they're more social, and so it seems like it's almost by committee how things kind of navigate through what's right or what's wrong, or how things sit in the locker room, right? The locker room talks are the same. We shouldn't be doing that. He had an interview with a couple of the women coaches that have had illustrious careers. I mean, just gold medals, silver medals, national titles, and it's a pointed question, because I'll notice with the girls hockey with some of the lower level that the coaching's a little inclined to give the girls the benefit of the doubt, if you will, or they're not as I don't know if it's tough on them, meaning the discipline is the same, but it's almost it's like it's weird, because you can't do check, but yet they check.
Oh, they're some of the hardest hitting players I've ever come across.
You got it, right?
I've watched female college hockey and even youth hockey where I'm like, man, you guys better keep your heads up.
That's it. Yeah, you'll helicopter in a heartbeat,
Holy
right?
smokes, these girls, they hit hard.
Yeah. And so there's, that's what's kind of interesting about it, is we're trying to figure out all this stuff and how to make sense of it, and then, how to exploit it for the betterment of the team, for the players, and to get that growth. So, the takeaways from yesterday is one of the things is that can a player change the culture of a team?
Oh, of course.
All right. Why do you think so?
It's, you don't want to tap on the negative, but the old saying, one bad apple can spoil the bunch.
You're good with those. I mean, it's. Do you have like a classic quotes book?
I'm the king of analogies. I'm like
from 1960.
I can't think of anything right now, but honestly, though, I mean,
bad apples.
It can be the opposite too. It can be one strong-willed player, one positive player can change the attitude of an entire team. The same thing that can happen when you're down in a game and one player decides to step up and inspire the team with his play. So yeah, individual players can have impacts on the entire group.
Right. Well, and that bad apple part, the best players on some of these teams get traded because culture-wise they don't fit in, or they're a sloth on the ice, or there's they come with baggage, right?
Yeah, well,
don't know that.
It's an overall culture, and if, like you said, if somebody's not fitting in, and the coach is desiring a certain culture, and that's more prevalent at the pro level where they're trying to develop. I mean, if you're a Bruins fan, and you should be, and you've got a blue collar mentality.
Did you see the Zamboni that I got, by the way?
I saw that.
I'm just trying to change the topic quickly.
I see that.
Go ahead. Go back to Boston.
If you've got a blue collar mentality and you bring in, super deeker Dangles, and he doesn't ever want to get touched or hit, some fans are going to be upset that he's getting traded, but at the same time, he's not really fitting into the motif of what that coach is trying to accomplish for that season.
Yeah, well, there are some studs out there.
There are.
That their job is to be that super deker, and then everyone else has got their back, i.e. protect the golden hands.
Look at Wayne Gretzky. I mean, he was protected for years in Edmonton.
Yep.
And then as the game started to change a little bit and he started moving on to other areas, he wasn't as protected as he was, and he took some heavy hits.
Sure.
Changed his game,
yep.
And, we all know that, the hit he took in St. Louis. And
yeah.
So it's an impacting game, and it goes game by game, season by season, and depending on what like you said, the culture that wants to be pushed forward on the team for that season.
Yeah, so we were, it came down to buying in. That's the takeaway I got from
the old
buy-in.
saying. The old saying is you got to buy into the coach's plan.
Right. So that one person, that catalyst, that captain, or that leader of the team, and there can be leaders. Starts to convey the message,
sure,
right? And if everyone buys in, then things start becoming fun, and then you start winning by default. I mean, I was talking about Madden with baseball. I mean, here's a guy that you have a theme to every road trip, almost. I think it seems like it. It's on the news all the time, right?
Yeah.
Funky shirt day or whatever, where you see 20, 30 grown men wearing the craziest of outfits that you probably wore to your wedding, but they're out there and they're having fun, and I think when you don't take yourself seriously and it's a collective, that things typically seem to go better. Yeah,
we have to do things that involve the group as a whole, and things that are not directly related to what happens on the ice.
Right.
And I'm going to use the Bruins again as an example because that's what I do. They do a phenomenal job every year of making sure that they have a Mother's Day and a Father's Day where they take the parents of the players on the road. They put them up in hotels. They give them their own suite.
I started to digress. I was shutting you out, but then now you've got me interested.
Yes, because it's something that involves the families of the players. They're isolated, specialized, or whatever you want to say. They're put into a glorified spot for that road trip, and they bring the parents on the road trip. That's
pretty cool.
It's cool. They all wear their kids' jersey just like when they were little, and they're up in their own suite, and they get to watch the game, and they get highlighted during the game. So there's little things like that. Every year there's an annual shave your head for cancer kind of thing. A lot of players will shave their head and donate their hair, stuff like that. So there's all kinds of things you can do.
I mean, minimum donations are okay.
Yeah, not sure what we get out of you, but
I'd be there. I'd be bald.
Sure, absolutely. So there's all kinds of things that you can do with your team to promote a culture. Perfect example, when we had our little Black Bear team about 6-7 years ago, we would do car washes. Okay,
how cool was that?
We would probably make anywhere between $1,000 and $2,000 after 2 or 3 car washes. We'd have this money, and then come Christmas time, we would task the hockey players to find a family that needs help, and we'd find that family. We always did. And we would take that family, we'd have a special night out with that family. We'd take them to like Walmart. I'd divide the players up with the family members and say, you've got this money, go spend it on this kid. And so we had a night where we spent with the family, and we bought gifts for the kids. And that was probably one of the most exciting times they ever had as a team.
And I bet one of the most rewarding things to bring a team together. I mean, so if you didn't catch that part, It wasn't that they were doing the car wash to raise money for their own team.
Right. They were doing it.
It was to raise it for
to give back.
To give back.
And again, how do you give back? Do you just simply raise money, write a check to something, and say, "Hey, we did that"? No, you got to make it memorable. So you involve that team in that event, and you take that family out, and you take them shopping, you feed them, and the whole 9 yards. And and like I said, they had a blast. They're all wearing their hockey jerseys, running around Walmart trying to find what this kid wants for Christmas, and
sure,
knowing how much money they have in their pocket. It was good stuff.
It's a lot of good things come out of that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things that as we talk, there are all these little things that creep out of the woodwork of things that we've done through our lives and our participation with the community, and how much that rink becomes a community. We did pizza night at the pond last night.
Yeah, sure. Every Friday night it's pizza night.
And so I went to go grab the pizzas, and on the way back, we had a father and son that were here.
Yep.
That had to run across town, if you will, down the street to TBSA. They could have walked.
They left early.
But I saw them getting out of the car, and I immediately came in, and I'm like, grab some pizza out of the back. They're like, oh, thanks, God, thanks for starving, right? Now, he knew, he chipped in, so Dad chipped in for the pizzas, knowing that neither one of them were going to eat, right? Which was pretty cool. I mean, and I don't want you paying for them because you are here all the time already. So this is our way of giving back.
I live under the desk when you're not here.
I believe it shows.
My bed under there.
Your blankie is still here.
I feel like
with the Boston logo on it.
Between the things I've done here the last when we were closed and everything, I feel like I've been here 24/7, 365.
You have. It looks like it, and the place has never looked better. It smells nice in here too. By the way,
it smells clean.
Right. And so we can go down the journey. What would you say? All right, so we did a scrimmage yesterday, okay? And I've got my 10-year-old in net because, it was either have one goalie or two goalies.
Right.
And I'm going through the apprehension of we're going to have 16, 17s out on the ice.
Right.
And they can spin his head three directions, crack the helmet in half.
Sure.
Not good.
No.
Right? And so, but it was either that or don't have a goalie. And I think if you asked anybody, would you have a goalie if it meant certain conditions or no goalie, everyone's going to say, yeah, we'll take the goalie.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what it was. So I'm out, I'm like, before we started our scrimmage, called everybody in and said, here's the deal. Ryan's in net, no shots to the head. And you guys need to learn your discipline because I'm watching them do their skate and shoot or they're, goofing around.
Sure.
They didn't hit the net at all. I mean, everything was 2-3 feet above the net or 2-3 feet wide. And this is a real issue for me. Mm-hmm. I'm even getting second thoughts of, is this the smartest thing to do? And don't judge me, please. We try and do this. We try and, you balance what you think the kids can gain out of it versus safety.
It's a pickup scrimmage again, just like back on the days of the pond. You gather the kids together and say, hey, watch out for little Jimmy.
That's it.
If you're going to go in on a breakaway or if you're going to wind up from the slap shot, keep in mind
twice.
Who's there.
Yeah.
We're all here to have some fun and play. It's not a real game. We're just having fun. Players, kids need parental involvement. They need to have some sort of overseeing and guidance.
When we turn it into Lord of the Flies, that's when things start getting crazy, right?
Yeah.
And so we know that that's not a place for it. But, conversely, so we had, 4 or 5 girls out there, I think 5 girls out there from the Alliance. And then we had some Storm players, some TBJL players, and what else? Some Boys Alliance players. It wound up being, I think, 8 on 8, 9 on 9, somewhere around there. Yep. A couple kids on the bench. We ran for 45 minutes hard. Mm-hmm. It was fast hockey, clean hockey. We had little Wallace out there.
Yep.
And boy, we talk about attitude and conduct and things like that. And Matt, for as good of a player as he is, Matt's a phenomenal player. Matt, keep it up, man. You work hard, it shows, right?
Yep.
And so he's, now he's playing with Jack. And so those two kind of paired off on one another. And it was cool to see because they were fighting like cats and dogs to get around each other.
Sure.
And both of them were stymieing each other. I mean, both, it was I was waiting for it to get a little more physical because it kept raising the bar of what
Sure.
they were trying to do, right?
Yep.
And then we had some lip going on, which I don't care for that at all. I have zero patience for that, right?
Well, that's inevitable as the boys try to make sure that there's one up.
That's it.
And Wyatt will come off to me in a high school hockey pickup and go, I can't stand that kid. I'm like, because he's challenging you?
Right.
You're not the best player on the ice. You got somebody else that actually can put you down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's just toxic. No, he's toxic because he's better than you.
That's it. Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And that's just natural competitive juices flowing. It happens.
Right.
Tonight we have the opposite. We have a scrimmage for adults at 8 o'clock, and we've invited some of our younger students to come in, and we have to tell those guys not to
hurt us.
So don't worry about little Jimmy. Worry about old Jimmy.
Yes, old Jimmy. Old Jimmy's got a problem. Old Jimmy's got to go to work tomorrow.
We don't. Right? We don't need him in the hospital with a broken hip.
Yes. Right.
So, but it's just as we get the rinks back open, we start buying ice and start doing stuff. Some guys are, and some people are apprehensive about coming back too early. That's fine. So you end up with what you can get, and we're on the ice with all ages at this point, and we're having some fun.
Yep.
And it's all going to be good. And again, going back to what you want to talk about, culture. We're working through this situation and providing guidance and an environment that is healthy.
That's it. And I applaud what everyone's trying to do to make it work safely.
Well, we have to, because we have to play.
The thing for me this whole last month, I started ripping at the kids yesterday. I'm mentally, I'm tired. I'm tired of seeing everyone going through this. I'm tired of seeing the news. I'm tired of seeing everything. And yesterday, I got the blackout most of it because we were here. Then we did that pickup game. Mm-hmm. And that was how I ended out my night, which was, okay. And I'm dealing with an unruly teenager right now. And at the same time, like I'm disappointed in myself that I lost it yesterday. And that's the thing, is that we're all human. And she was snapping at me, I'm snapping at her, and then this morning we're making waffles together.
It's the uppercut to her little brother last night that was just,
oh yeah,
woo!
Yeah.
I'm like, you're on my sheet of ice, you just uppercut your brother. What's going on?
Right. And the funny thing is that I was in the green room.
Yeah.
As they were sorting out this, right? And
I told her as soon as Jack came up, and I said, "What happened?" And my sister, like, Delaney, come here. What'd you do? Well, I punched him.
Yep. Right.
Like, go fix it.
Now. And thank you, because that's the thing. Over the last year, because we have 3 kids, we can only be at 2 rinks at the same time.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for the help of all the parents,
yeah, sure.
And that's one of the things that kind of gives me, faith in humanity, if you will, because it is such, as with all travel sports, the boys are different than the girls. The boys are just trying to commute around I-4 and 275 and 95. So it's contained within a 3-4 hour radius, if you will. Delaney, she's somewhere once a month. And it's an airplane somewhere, right? Because we have to go up north to play the level of hockey that we're trying to achieve. What about if you could say, what are like a couple things, I don't want to put numbers to it, a couple things that destroy culture and a couple things that embrace culture. And we could tie this into, like the tryouts that are going to be around the corner if everything goes well. Like the do's and don'ts of attitude and things like that, right?
I will tell you, and I'm not going to get on a soapbox, but I'm going to tell you from the beginning, and the reason why I am so selective about where Wyatt plays, it all starts with the coach. I just want parents to understand that this game is so intense and requires so much focus, and it's the hardest game to play. It's the greatest game, but it's the hardest game to play. And the distraction of making sure that mom and dad are happy with me when I play, like what Palmer was talking about. They're seeking parental improvement all the time, and if you're coming down on them, you're trying to coach from the stands, it makes it so much harder for them. The pressure on them is not to please the coach. I mean, that's there too because they want to make sure that they get ice time, but to please the parent is higher on their list because they live with their parent.
Absolutely.
And
it's not wrong.
No, but again, there's a way to go about it that's constructive and positive, and when it comes to that aspect of the game and coaching, coach has a responsibility to provide a healthy environment and a learning environment, and the parent has a responsibility to allow the coach to do that.
We were at a rink down south, and on every sheet of plexi, meaning every 4 feet, there's a note saying about behavior, right? I'm like, oh, this is a tough joint, right? And so on the other side, it was actually where it was calm, right? On the ice, it was calm. The things like if you bust a play, where you got the puck, you carry the puck, and you lose it, whatever, like don't slap your stick against the wall, boards, ice, because you just got distracted, and odds are you could have probably done something immediately after that and maybe gotten the puck back, right? But you were so intent on expressing your frustration. Do you see it happen in the pros? Those guys, the minute a play is broken, they're going back and they're hustling just as hard, if not even harder, right? So the moral of the story on there is that don't quit on a play. Don't ever quit. Body language is everything. We look at that. When we do drills, when we blow the whistle to stop a drill, don't be throwing the pucks around. Get to exactly where the coach, grab a knee, yes, coach, right? And all of a sudden the coaches are going to be like, I like this kid. This kid is coachable. This kid is here to learn.
Yep.
And I don't want to say there's a little asterisk, but, if I'm checking boxes off of how to assemble a team and what I'm looking for, that's it. But be smart and know that you're on display. And even when the coach isn't looking at you, it shouldn't matter. You should always be... And
you need to be the kind of player that's going to create the culture that you want.
That's it.
So not just look for the culture you want, but actually be the culture you want.
That's it.
Okay? And you and I could talk about this all day. This podcast could go on for hours and hours.
Oh, sure.
But we just wanted we just want to put something out there while we're waiting to put together our Metropolitan episode. Yep. Something to keep everybody interested, and we really appreciate everybody watching.
Yeah, we got some really good feedback. Yeah. I was surprised how many people watched our first episode and commented on it, for better or for worse. Yeah. That's what we're here for. Well, we're going to see you on the ice soon. Thanks.
We'll be back.
That's a take.